Good morning, everybody. That right over there is the one and only Farrah Fawcett.
And that, of course, is J. Jonah Jameson.
Wow, that's good. That's solid. And this is SSD coming to you live in the morning, Friday morning edition of Super Squad D. Tyler.
Pew, 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 pew.
How's it going? You drinking coffee over there? You don't drink coffee.
I don't drink coffee. But you know what I do? I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I do. Well, it's backwards, but it says soulmate. And I wanted to share this Coca-Cola with you.
I think it's only backwards on your screen. I'm pretty sure that everyone else saw it correctly.
Oh, yeah. The best part of waking up
is isolating all the fans that tune in just to see how much Dr. Pepper you consume. So I want to apologize to everyone who only cares about that. Want to give
a niche group, but
it is.
They're real local.
Want to give a shout out to a couple people. Scott is in the chat. What's up, Scott? Want to give a shout out to Kevin O'Neill, who's going to be watching after work, and I told him that we would give him a shout out when we got into this.
I dig it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel very quickly and quietly threw out the Iron Fist Season 2 trailer this week. After, Luke Cage Season 2 came out, like a month ago or something?
It did.
It feels like it wasn't that long ago. They thought the Iron Fist Season 2 trailer. We're watching it, and it inspired us to sit down and maybe talk a little bit about, whether or not we liked the trailer and what, about Season 1 kind of went wrong, because for a lot of people, that was the weakest of all the Marvel Netflix shows, all that sort of stuff. That's all we're doing this morning. We're just deep diving into Iron Fist territory.
Here. This episode brought to you by Space Jam. Because of the Space Jam Steelbook, you're not a fully complete human being.
That's the Steelbook? You want to show it off?
Yeah, look at that dog. Oh. That's the sound of steel. Well, of metal. I mean, it's probably not. It's unlikely that it's actual, any percent of it's steel, but it's a phrase. Yeah, it's got a nice little Space Jam logo. I'm going to pop this bad boy in. Watch it 10 times in a row.
Why do you think that they can legally get away with saying Steelbook? I mean, it kind of seems like it's false advertising and they should get sued.
I mean, what if someone gets steel poisoning and they think they got it from a Steelbook and they call it Steelbook? I'm pretty sure there's legal liability associated with that.
Yeah. I mean, the legal precedent says that is exactly what happens. And that raises a very important question. What is steel poisoning? Is that a real thing that I'm just unaware of in my 30 years of life?
It kills at least up to 20 people a year in America. It's a very
wow.
Run. It's fine.
Who knew? Who knew?
We acknowledge you, Senpai. David Codd, the deep dive.
I'm not going to acknowledge Zach.
Yes.
You stay thirsty, Zach. You stay thirsty out there. All right. Iron Fist Season 2 trailer. It comes out. We get to see some of the, classic Iron Fist elements.
Yeah.
Iron Fist mask being worn. We get to see a little bit more of, the land of Kunlun. I don't know how to pronounce it. I feel like they say it differently every time.
I do too.
So that kind of no stability there. But what was your first impression, Tyler? Did you like?
Absolutely loved it.
Okay.
I mean, we always on SSD here try to evaluate things in what we liked, what we didn't like, and then are we excited about it?
Yeah.
And
that's our like litmus test for any sort of trailer.
So I absolutely loved the majority of the trailer. The things that I loved from it really pull from that Brubaker Iron Fist comic run, which is what I was hoping they would put more of in the first season, because I actually enjoyed the first season. I know a lot of people, and it's really always a toss-up for me as what I thought was worse, that or Luke Cage Season 1, because Iron Fist was like mediocre all the way through.
Right.
Luke Cage was like super great and then super bad. So I can never really decide, which one I liked worse and which one I liked more. But a big problem for me in Season 1, which is what you asked earlier, was I felt like they did not go into the Iron Fist mythos at all, and that's all I really wanted to see.
Yeah, they didn't go into anything like that. And that kind of goes into my biggest issue with it. Was that, and because like a lot of people, I mean, they raged against Finn Jones as an actor. They,
Crucified that guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I can understand some of those complaints, but when I look at it, I feel like the writing is what failed season 1 more than anything else.
Agree.
And the reason that I think that is, and of course I did an entire like SSD, like Iron Fist season 1 joke review video a while back, that basically just, poked holes at, or poked fun at all the weak moments of the show. But since then, he's shown up in Defenders, and I thought he did a fine job in Defenders. He showed up in Luke Cage season 2 in what I think was one of the better Luke Cage season 2 episodes, and did a fine job. And I think ultimately it's because they're writing the character a little bit better to be this kind of like quirky, aloof guy, and not so much be super solemn.
Or
like
monk wannabe, or like we don't have to have a fortune cookie saying every time he.
Yeah. And that was the biggest thing about season 1, is that like every time he was on the screen, it seemed like they had written him to be, I'm Danny Rand.
Right.
This is my life now. And like I don't know. It just, in Defenders, he seemed a little bit more naive kid, like wanting to save the world, lighthearted, and all of that. And I enjoyed that since then. Good morning, Kimmy Jacob. See you later, Zach Adams. Speaking of going into the chat right there.
Zach got me Hollow Knight for my birthday, so he's very happy to play it.
By the way, happy late birthday to you, Tyler. We were going to do a birthday stream, but then you specifically told me, please don't bother me on my birthday. I'm trying to enjoy my day.
And then for the subsequent 4 days after.
Right.
Up until about 30 minutes ago.
You've told me, please don't bother me a lot in the past week. It's the strangest thing. I don't know why.
Weirdest thing. I would never say that because we're...
I can't read it. It's backwards.
Oh. So the other thing...
It's not. It wasn't backwards.
And I would love to hear from you guys in the chat. Those of
Absolutely.
you in the Iron Fist trailer, like I would like to know what you guys thought of the trailer and if it got you excited, and specifically what you liked from it. But as you pointed out, the acting, which I felt like was much better. The writing was much better. But I was glad to see him actually use the Iron Fist significantly more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it almost felt like they were nervous or something about showing it too much.
I don't know. It was a weird deal in season 1 where we rarely got it, but now it seems like they're gonna pull out all the stops. And it was cool to see like the classic Iron Fist head garb.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my complaints as we move into that section, is the head garb looked a little bit just like homemade cloth. Like I liked did it. I thought that was a really cool choice. I just wish it looked a little bit less like, my son's birthday's here and he's 4. Let me go ahead and cut up some fabric and stick it on his head and be like, you're a superhero. But that I felt like could have been done better, as well as I feel like, and this kind of is going to contradict what I literally just said, which was I was glad to see more of the Iron Fist. I would like to see more uses of the Iron Fist, like different ways they use the fist. Like I thought it was really cool how in Defenders he hit Luke's hand, and it was that Defenders or was that Luke Cage? I don't remember, where he hit his hand and it reverberated out and knocked down everything. Like I love the use of the fist. I think it's really great. What I don't only want to see it used for is just punching.
Right. Yeah, that was Luke Cage season 2, in what was one of the better episodes. I think we both agreed that was one of the better ones. Though you didn't care much for the fight scene as a whole, I believe you told me.
Yeah, I felt like if you watched it closely, you could tell nobody was actually hitting anybody, which is really what you're going for in a fight scene.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. It would be nice to see that a little bit more. Jumping over before because I do have a question for you in a second here, but jumping over here, David Codd says that he thinks that the special effects on he calls it the glow fist, because that's kind of all they do, is a little bit lame cop out. Yeah, what would you want that to look like though, David? That's what I'm curious. Like, does the Iron Fist in the comics just need to translate better to the screen or something? I don't know. Michael Allen's agreeing that he feels like season 1 was so lackluster for him that it's hard for him to get excited. And that's really the question here that I wanted to pick your brain about, Tyler, is in light of what we've talked about in season 1, in light of, shoddy writing that just didn't really do anyone any sort of favors.
Mm-hmm.
What in this season 2 could, potentially, what is getting you excited? Is it the fact that it seems like there's more comic book influence, or is there something that you've seen in the times that Finn Jones has appeared in the other shows that you're liking?
I'm excited because it does seem like they actually listened to the complaints fans had. Like, it's no secret to them, I'm certain, all of the complaints that people had with Finn and the writing and some of like the lackluster storylines. Like, obviously they heard that. And it's nice to know that they are really trying to to overcome that, which as you noted, they definitely started with the Defenders trying to do that. But on top of just the fact, like, that alone would be enough to probably get me excited about the show if I hadn't read any of the comics, because it's like, the acting is better, the plot, they're going for more. But having read the comics, the best moment in the trailer for me, hands down, wish I could throw this up on the screen, was there's a point where they're in like an abandoned subway tunnel, and they find a skeleton body, and it's got the Iron Fist mask on there. And as every fan of Iron Fist knows, he's not the only Iron Fist. There were more Iron Fists before him. So,
whoa! Spoiler alert for us non-Iron Fist fans.
If you watch season 1, you probably could guess he was not the very first Iron Fist. So the idea that they're going to explore the legacy of the Iron Fist has me like on cloud 9. Like, there's so many characters that I want to see appear in this season, and I think the season has so much potential. Including the end of the season, which I most certainly and firmly believe it should be an intro to the strongest arc in that Brubaker run, which was the tournament.
Yeah,
I think absolutely. That's a great way to end the season, but we'll see.
Yeah, you told me to check out that Brubaker run, and I did, and I loved it. And so, I was trying to remember who it is that said earlier that, oh yeah, Michael Allen said he's never really read any Iron Fist. Michael, that's the one you should look up. You should look up the Iron Fist by Brubaker, and that wasn't David Asia who was the artist on that, was it? It was?
Yeah, it was Asia.
Okay, that's what I thought. You need to look that up. I love David Asia's artwork. But anyway, I loved it, and that would be, I think, an ideal place to take the series. And so Near Mint Conditions joining us in the live chat.
What's up, Omar?
Love Omar. David's saying expand the glow to be like a pulsing visual spectacular. I want it to be a treat for my eyes. I like that. I don't know if that's just like a budget thing, or if it's specifically a design thing where they don't want it to be like too over the top or something. I don't know. Scott's saying that he's a little lukewarm on the Netflix series apart from Jessica Jones. Yeah. It's, there's the overall just general Marvel overload in a lot of ways, I think. But I've enjoyed enough of it. And then I saved Kimmy's question about Luke Cage season 2 for last so that we can actually discuss that for a moment, because I enjoyed Luke Cage season 2.
Yeah. More than me, for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for a couple of reasons that I'll quickly say, and then I'll want to hear what you have to say about it. It was all along, it was, I think, just overall a little bit better written consistently written than season 1. I really enjoyed the villain of Bushmaster. I thought he was an interesting villain, and I also think that he just was played very well. He had the really, really cool mannerisms, such as like giving an annoyed like tongue click noise when he was very clear, like sucking on the back of his teeth when he was very obviously so over whatever was going on. It was hilarious. And I loved it because Christone Kingfish Ingram,
Yeah, boy.
Mississippi blues guitar legend, shows up in one of the episodes.
19, right?
19-year-old blues prodigy really shows up. I saw him in concert last week on your birthday.
No, it was a nice treat for you to be able to get to do that on my birthday.
Yeah, my bad. I won't mention it again. But at some point, he wandered off the stage soloing, wandered through the crowd, never stopping the solo, like taking selfies with people, still soloing on guitar, went over into like a yard because this was like in a neighborhood setup, sat in a lawn chair and played an entire song soloing. It's very funny, very funny. But I agree with David Codd that the best parts were Danny and Colleen. Weakest part was in season 2 was anytime Mariah was on screen.
And that was really my biggest problem with season 2. I just found Mariah completely unbearable. I really did. Like Shades, I felt like was a good actor. I feel like the actor who played Shades did a good job and did what he could with the role. And they gave him like his best buddy and all that conflict there. But and I'm not gonna get into any spoilers, but man, Mariah was just unbearable for me.
Yeah.
Like literally unbearable, as well as I don't know. Okay, here's the one thing I will say about it. I loved the ending. No spoilers, but I felt like the ending was one of the best endings to a Marvel Netflix show we've had. But overall, I think we're just, as a fandom and a fan base, experiencing superhero show dysphoria, where just like we're so inundated with shows, there's so many, and time is so limited. Like I remember when like Arrow first came out and Daredevil first came out, I was like, I'll never miss an episode of these shows.
Right.
And now there's like 5 CW shows. And then, the DC is about to launch their thing. And there's a bunch of Marvel Netflix shows. And there's not enough time for me to actually watch and keep up with everything. So the bar in which I am wanting, like the quality bar has gone up and up and up. Because, Smallville. Because that was the only superhero show that really existed, which I have mad love for Smallville, dude. But
man, yeah, in high school, you were obsessed.
I mean, I was. I mean, I don't want to say that I went around shirtless like Tom Welling all the time, but you could say that.
Yeah, because you got in trouble at school a lot for that.
It was ridiculous.
It was really bad.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't actively watch a lot of the CW DC Arrowverse. I've gone through a few seasons of Arrow and Flash, and then saw enough and got burned out. So maybe I'm not feeling that as much, and in particular because I think the Marvel Netflix shows as a whole, the fact that the quality of just like even just the picture quality is great.
Yeah, for sure.
Is so much better than what the CW produces that I think I can get into that a little bit more. I do fully agree with Weekend Geekdom showing up as well. Man, I'm loving all this. Is like a big channel collaboration. We just need to next Friday, Near Mint, Weekend Geekdom, SSD, Friday morning collab.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Calling it. Just calling it right now. But you had, it can drag quite a bit. That's the main issue here. And I think that was the biggest issue that we've seen in Luke Cage, is that they've had to drag it out in both seasons to make like a storyline.
And to meet the 13 episode mark, which was interesting because somebody actually asked the Netflix CEO about the Marvel shows and said that very thing. Like, hey, you kind of seem like you're dragging out these shows. Mm-hmm. And his response was, we actually have no control over that. So apparently, this is my understanding, they essentially, they said they would do Marvel shows for 13 episodes, and then that was it. And then Marvel's the one who has all the control. And to Marvel's defense, like, are they really going to self-impose a limit on their shows and potentially
Right.
make less money. Like, no, they're going to do any show's going to do as many episodes as they can get ordered. So
Yeah,
they're not,
absolutely.
but that's definitely it. So Kimmy, my one piece of advice to you, if you're going to watch Luke Cage season 2 and you did not like Jessica Jones season 2, watch the first episode. If you don't absolutely love it, skim the episodes up until about episode 8 or 9, and then start watching. Like, skim so you get context and what's happening, but you don't have to watch every detail of every episode, because at episode 8 or 9, it really picks up and finishes really strong.
It does. Like, if season 1 of Luke Cage, no, I won't make that comparison. Yeah, season 2 of Luke Cage, I definitely think if you make it through, because you have to, some of it is an absolute chore, but if you make it to the end, there's a few episodes in particular that I noticed they really accented or really, highlighted who was directing that episode. And when you get to those episodes in which I don't know, I guess it was maybe guest directors, something like that. There's a few of those in particular that are very, very well done and that are different from the rest of them, which I think is very interesting. That they had kind of a different tone or different style, and it made it very interesting. But those all came towards the end, so it ended strong, which is very interesting because, of course, Luke Cage season 1 started strong with Mahershala Ali as one of the best actors around right now, as a very, very compelling, Harlem-based, crime lord, and then they ruin that story arc and they bring in a terrible villain in I've already forgotten his name. Diamondback, was that him?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So it's kind of the opposite in a lot of ways. They should make some Netflix Marvel movies instead of seasons.
I would love to see some Netflix animated Marvel movies. He's whooping Marvel in the animated game. Michael Allen saying, let's get Daredevil season 3 and Punisher season 2.
Mm-hmm.
My favorites. Those were actually some of my favorites too. I loved everyone loved Daredevil, I think. I mean, I don't know. I have one friend who's like a diehard comic book fan, Daredevil fan, Nathan Carroll. And he was just very upset at the portrayal of Elektra in season 2 because she wasn't the comic book version of Elektra, and I don't know, yada yada yada. But for the most part, everybody I know really enjoys Daredevil. Thank goodness they did announce that Daredevil is coming before the end of the year. We are getting in 2019 Daredevil season 3.
Before the end of this year or the end of next? Okay, because it's 2018. I hate to break it to you.
Yikes. I need to call the bank and some of the bills I just paid. I'm not gonna be able to cash that check for a while. Yikes. And on that note, I have no idea when Punisher season 2 is coming, but we know it's coming. We know it's out there. Soulmates.
Woo! Yeah, Soulmates. Yeah. Hey, did you ever watch Supernatural? Because apparently it is never going off the air, according to what I'm seeing here in the chat.
Love it. The thing about Supernatural is I actually enjoyed the show, but after season 4, it seemed like they had to escalate the bad guy and the danger to the point where at one point it was God and God's sister, and then the alternate realities caving in on each other. It's just it started off oh no, there's a vampire, and now it's oh no, there's God's sister. She's gonna destroy everything. So, they really are running out of escalate. Sometimes me and my friend will just brainstorm on who could be the next season's villain. What is a bigger villain? Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Season 14, I think the villain is just going to be they realize the villain is their own existence. Somehow they're the ones that have been causing all the problems, and so the entire season's them trying to figure that out. Here's a good question. What other heroes would you want to see on Netflix? We've talked about this on the show before, I'm pretty sure, but I mean, because obviously you can't really get you can't get the Avengers on Netflix, right? You got to get the second tier.
sad that the Netflix heroes were not featured in this Steelbook. R.I.P. Steel Poisoning. Avengers: Infinity War. I was still very disappointed because I really had hoped they would be, and now I realize that they're never going to be. Like if they weren't in Infinity War, it's a crossover with the cinematic universe has never happened. Like the films, it's never going to happen. I would love to. I mean, people have thrown out Moon Knight because he's like a new version of Batman. Apparently, I would have said Cloak and Dagger, but apparently they have their own show on ABC Freeform. I haven't watched it. I've actually heard it's not bad. I also like, you know, any of the ground level heroes, Squirrel Girl, who's also getting a show on Freeform. Though maybe that's better because I don't know, like a hyper violent Squirrel Girl with like gouging people's eyes out is probably not ideal for that character.
Agreed. This one's hard for me because I don't know exactly who all fits that. I do want to give a shout out to Obi-Wan Kenobi joining us in the chat here. How about that Jedi Council? I don't think Darth Vader was on the council. I could be wrong here. You would know better, Obi-Wan. You're the Jedi Master.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, I'm not maybe the best judge for what is the right or the second tier who would belong on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see if they, instead of trying to do movies, obviously it's too big of a license to not go ahead and do movies with it. But I mean, why not make some sort of X-Men series, right?
That would be amazing.
Like actual X-Men, not like New Mutants or something. Actual X-Men series would be interesting. Kimmy Jacob wants a She-Hulk Law and Order type show.
Like she only transforms into She-Hulk like once every 3 episodes, and like the majority of the episode is just a law. Like it's a basic Law and Order show. You don't even know it's a She-Hulk show until the very end, like the last 35 seconds of the show. Like she's prosecuted this person. It's been this long case. And then like this bad guy shows up and tries to kill her client, and she just She-Hulks out and beats him up, and then just goes poof, She-Hulk, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
Law and Order.
Doom, doom.
So good.
Well, yeah, I think you just described Iron Fist season 1, though.
Yeah, true.
You only see any sort of action like every 3 episodes, and for the most part, it's some sort of generic drama.
True. Oh, I tell you what, I love the idea of Blade. A Blade show would be dope.
Yeah.
I mean, we are getting a new Buffy series,
right? And Sabrina the Teenage Witch
again. Yeah, looks
Sabrina the Teenage Witch
looks scary. Runaways. Runaways was great. M. Scotter absolutely loved it. You like Gossip Girl? Then you'll love Runaways. It's made by the same person.
Okay. I wasn't sure what the comparison was. I just realized as the show's gone on, my hair has been poofing out of my hat a whole lot more.
You do you.
This is my new look.
I like it.
So I guess the final question for everyone who's in the chat, and because there is a bit of a delay, I believe, between the stream and the chat, we'll talk a minute to get this going. But if Iron Fist season 1 is generally viewed as the weakest of the 4, first seasons on Marvel Netflix shows, then is anyone excited? As you said, the way we evaluate things are, what looked good, what looked bad, and does it get us excited about watching? So does this get you excited? And then the live chat, especially, want to hear your thoughts. Does this get you excited about season 2? What's the final verdict here on the excitement level? Tyler.
Final verdict? Very excited. On a scale of 1 to flipping excited, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm a hair below.
Okay.
Very excited, but I'm confident. I'm more confident. Yeah, that's what the term I'll use, because of what they've done with Danny Rand since season 1. In the Defenders, he was written a little bit better. His cameo in Luke Cage season 2 was one of the better episodes and was written better. So it makes me a little bit more confident that They might just get this season right, or not.
Or they're just going to have Claire randomly show up and, you know, bring it all together, as Claire so frequently does. Well, I think that about wraps up our Friday morning showgram.
Woo! Yes, it does. I hope everyone. Yeah, I am out of coffee here in this mug. I need to go get a refill. Need to get ready for the day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone. I wasn't just saying thank everyone. That's a command.
You thank you, and you thank you, and you thank everybody.
Big shout out again to Kevin O'Neill, who's going to watch this after work.
Kevin.
And I hope he does, because I'm purposefully giving him these shout outs. Thanks again to Obi-Wan, Jedi Master, for joining us and recommending a Star Wars crossover with Marvel. They're all owned by Disney.
Heyo!
Make it happen. I'd absolutely be all about that. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. M. Scott, Kimmy Jacob, Michael Allen, David Codd. We got Gio. We got who am I overlooking?
Near Mint.
Near Mint. We got Near Mint, of course. I'm sure there was someone else. Oh, yeah. Well, Zach doesn't count.
No, he doesn't count.
He abandoned us
early.
Thank you to everyone. Tyler, why don't you sign us off on this morning broadcast?
Okay. I will. You know, I'm just going to sing us out. I'm just going to sing us out this morning. That sometimes it just feels right to sing us out with a little tune I like to call the Super Squad D live anthem. Goes a little something like this.